Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jennifer Meckles. A national conservation group has now released a list of national monuments that they are worried could be at risk for energy development. One of those is right here in Colorado. 9 News reporter Evan Krugel is in studio with us tonight. Talk about why Dinosaur National Monument made this list, Evan.
Yeah, Jenny, this comes, of course, as the Trump administration moves forward with plans to review public lands for potential energy development. And the National Parks Conservation Association believes Dinosaur National Monument on the western slope could be one they're focusing in on. Colorado's wide open public spaces draw thousands of visitors every year. But underneath this beauty sits a resource the Trump administration is looking to extract.
Nobody has more liquid gold under their feet than the United States of America, and we will use it and profit by it.
The administration is now in the process of reviewing what federal public lands could help America reach energy independence. Colorado currently produces the fourth highest amount of crude oil in the country.
It's also just now a waiting game to see how they are going to go about this.
Daniel Hart and the National Parks Conservation Association reviewed energy maps and came up with this list of 13 national monuments they believe could be at risk for energy development.
Dinosaur National Monument, which straddles the Colorado-Utah border, is one of these monuments that we could be at risk.
Daniel says those impacts could be wide-ranging.
The noise, the dust, the contamination it could cause to waterways.
This week, Colorado Republican Congressman Jeff Hurd, whose district includes Dinosaur National Monument, introduced the Productive Public Lands Act, which he says would unlock access to viable lands throughout Colorado and the West and put America on a path to energy dominance.
But we do need to make sure that we're using those federal lands in a responsible way, in a way that maximizes the multiple use mandate that we have in federal law for outdoor recreation, for energy, for agriculture, and for making sure that we utilize and harness this great resource that we have here, particularly in the West.
The NPCA is urging Hurd to reconsider and says federal public lands should be protected from development.
Coloradans and Americans need to let Congress know how important these national monuments are to them.
The NPCA says national parks are likely off limits to energy development since they're protected by Congress, but national monument borders can change from president to president. That's why those 13 sites, including Dinosaur, are all national monuments. In the studio, Evan Krugel, 9 News.
Super interesting, Evan. Thank you. President Donald Trump's latest executive order keeps those government cuts going, this time targeting groups that support museums and the homeless. President Trump signed an executive order demanding 7 government entities reduce their staffing. This includes the Institute of Museum and Library Sciences, the Interagency Council on Homelessness, and the Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service. The Agency for Global Media is also included. That runs government-funded media operations. And a legal win for the Trump team this weekend. A federal appeals court ruled the administration can enforce executive orders that cut back on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. Even though they ruled in the Trumps' favor, 2 of the 3 judges also did raise some concerns, though, about those anti-DEI directives, and they wrote about that in their concurring opinions. Trump administration is also downsizing the education department, leading to some concerns from parents and teachers. Coming up in 20 minutes, we're going to take a deep dive at what the future of public education in the U.S. would look like under this plan. As the Trump administration's trade war heats up, Colorado's Democratic governor, Jared Polis, is now trying to show support for Canada. Polis declared today as Colorado-Canada Friendship Day. He says he wants to treat our northern neighbors as a strong ally. According to the governor's office, back in 2023, Colorado exported nearly $2 billion in goods to Canada, accounting for 18% of the state's trade exports. Most of those, Colorado beef. The state says trade between the two supports 146,000 jobs.
Any additional tariffs with Canada would make us all worse off. Canada will lose, and the United States will lose, and Colorado will lose.
The governor's office says they're also going to plan a Colorado-Mexico Friendship Day, again, in lieu of these tariffs. Let's take a look at your forecast this afternoon. Thousands of people had to bundle up for Denver's St. Patrick's Day parade this morning. You're looking at video from Sky 9 over the parade earlier today. It was a sunny but breezy day for everyone. not long before we have even more pleasant weather coming our way. Let's get right over to 9 News Weather Impact Team Meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen. 60 degrees back in the forecast very soon.
Yeah, tomorrow we should be about 20 degrees warmer, and that will still be a breeze, but it won't have that bite that it had in it today. As you look at the live radar picture, it'll be a little bit drier tomorrow too. We have these light rain and snow showers moving across the Front Range right now, not having too much of an impact, but that's part of the cold scenario today, and that's some snow showers down here on the south end of the Palmer Divide near Callan right now. These storms will continue to move across the area over the next few hours with very little impact to the Front Range. Temperatures still hanging right there in a pretty cold spot here. A little bit colder than we're normally used to, even this time of year. Temperatures in the middle 40s here. Tomorrow, lots of sunshine going across the day, getting up to about 63, 64 degrees, which would be a good 20 degrees warmer than today. It's going to come with some high fire danger over the next 3 days, mostly on the eastern plains. And then we're looking for some Monday shenanigans here with that warm temperature there. A little bit of a breeze on St. Patrick's Day as well. And the next storm system comes in on Tuesday night. I'll have some information about that as well coming up in the forecast.
Monday shenanigans. Thank you, Corey. A man wanted for kidnapping in Aurora has now been arrested, but across the country. Police say 24-year-old Brider Joan Ospina Murillo is the second of 3 outstanding fugitives suspected of kidnapping people last December at the now closed Edge at Lowry apartments. Aurora police say a group of a dozen armed people kidnapped a couple from one of the units in that complex, took them to another unit, where investigators say the group tortured and robbed that couple before eventually letting them go. Ospina Murillo was arrested in Michigan after an alleged store burglary. He is now in federal custody. Two first responders are now recovering. They had been seriously hurt in a crash in northwest Colorado. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office says a paramedic and an EMT were both involved in a crash with another car on Highway 125 north of Walden yesterday. Both of the first responders were hospitalized. The Sheriff's Office says that EMT broke their leg, their ankle, their pelvis, and an arm. They were transferred to another hospital, and the paramedic was also released from the hospital last night with just minor injuries. Nobody in the other car got hurt, but the driver in that car was ticketed. A popular travel center is hitting the brakes now on a plan to expand in Colorado. The mayor of Palmer Lake, which is down in El Paso County, told our partners at KRDO that Buc-ee's has withdrawn its annexation request for a proposed development in that county. Buc-ee's officials cited a technical issue, said they're still interested in exploring options at that location. But since December, locals have been voicing their objection to the location. They're worried about traffic. Buc-ee's opened its first Colorado location up north along I-25 in Johnstown last year.